Has it become a buyer's market? That's what we're going to dive into because Zillow just put out some data that talks about the housing market nationally, and it looks to see if now is a buyer's market. And if it is, you need to take advantage of it because buyer's markets do not come around that often and they don't last very long. You see, a seller's market can last for years. A buyer's market typically lasts anywhere from 6 months to, let's say, at the most 18 months. Let's dive in. All right, so we jumped on the computer and we're looking at Zillow right now. Zillow has something they called a market index or a heat index, and I want to go over here for context. You see right now, when we look at the scores, which I'll show you in a second, you'll see that a score of 70 or above equals a strong seller's market, 55 to 69 equals a seller's market, 44 to 55 is a neutral market, meaning it's not really buyers or sellers. It's a pretty much even playing field. And 28 to 44 is a buyer's market, and below 27 is a strong seller market. Now, depending where you are in the country will determine what these numbers are because they are not the same across the board. So right now we're about to go to an interactive map where we get to see those different areas in the country where it is a strong seller's market, a buyer's market, a neutral market, and then you can determine how you should act and how we can position ourselves to take advantage of that market, whether you're a buyer or a seller. Let's dive in. Now, this map comes to you from Lance Lambert with Resi Club. Now, it's an interactive map of Zillow's data. Let's dive in. Now, remember the numbers. If it's over 70, it is a strong seller's market. And if it is 44 to 55, it's a neutral market. 55 to 69, it is a seller's market. And below 44 is a buyer's market. Now, where am I located? I'm located in the Carolinas. So let's look at this part of the Carolinas right here. We have Wilmington. Wilmington right now is a 48. It is a neutral market. So you'll see in the Carolinas, you see a lot of the neutral market right now, and that's due to the seasonality of real estate. You see during the spring and summer, a lot of buyers tend to buy during that time because it's most convenient. Now going into the fall and winter, buyers slow up because people have already chosen their schools and it's just a little colder and most people don't want to go looking for houses. And what's also happening here in the Carolinas is that there's a ton, and I do believe, depending on where you're located, that's not an overstatement, a ton of new construction hitting the market. So that is leveling off the demand because we have new construction meeting that demand. And right now, new construction, I have some reach out to me here in the Carolinas that offers a 2 in front of the interest rate for the first year, 2.875, 3.875, and then for years 3 through 30, 4.875 on the interest rate. So you cannot beat that when the normal going rate is in the 6.3 range. As we go around this chart, I want you to keep in mind, not just about demand and supply, we need to look at price point. Now, I'm not going to dive into every location regarding price point, but I will in the Charlotte region on what's available in various price points and how that impacts the demand and supply, and if it is a buyer's market or seller's market in various price points. So before we go into Charlotte, let's look at Fayetteville. Fayetteville has July 2024 at a 54. That means, again, it is a neutral market. Now let's go to Durham, 57. That means it's a slight seller's market here in Durham. Now let's look at Raleigh. Where's Raleigh? Raleigh is a 58. It is a seller's market still. And we just saw Burlington, 51, neutral market. Greensboro, neutral. Winston-Salem, neutral, 51. Now Charlotte, a 48. That is a neutral seller's market. And if it's below 44, it is a buyer's market. In certain price points, I believe it is a buyer's market in the Charlotte area. Now you might be wondering, where in the Carolinas is it a definite buyer's market? Well, if you look right here, you have Shelby, North Carolina. Now Shelby, North Carolina is a suburb of Charlotte. It is, heat index is a -5. Remember, anything below 27 is a strong buyer's market. Here, -5, you can create great deals in Shelby, North Carolina. Now, Shelby is about 50 minutes outside of Charlotte proper. Now let's look at some other places in North Carolina that is a buyer's market. We have Rocky Mount, North Carolina at 33. That is a buyer's market. We also have Lumberton, North Carolina. That is 25. That is a strong buyer's market right now. Now let's look at South Carolina and Spartanburg. Spartanburg is a 40, and that indicates a buyer's market. You also have Orangeburg, South Carolina. Now, when you go to Charleston, South Carolina, that is a neutral market sitting at 53 right now. Myrtle Beach at 40 is a buyer's market. Now, remember, Myrtle Beach has a lot of condos. You have to look at the inventory versus what you want. Now, if you're looking for a single family home, it might not be as much of a buyer's market, but if you're looking for condos, you will have your pick of the litter because it is a buyer's market in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Now let's get out of the Carolinas for a second. Let's look at Florida. Miami, Florida, 37. As of July, it was a buyer's market. And taking these numbers into consideration, as I said, you have to look at the product. Florida and Miami has a lot of condos. Condos has a lot of insurance that needs to be paid and high HOAs. So that is kind of skewing the numbers because a lot of those condos are sitting on the market for a significant amount of time, and that's causing inventory to be inflated versus the demand. Now, single family homes in Miami are still going very, very fast. So do not be skewed by these numbers. Now, when you see all these lighter colors, that indicates that it's more of a buyer's market. Where is it hot in the country? Where is it a seller's market? Well, you have here in the Northeast. In New York is still a very strong seller's market. And you have Rochester, my hometown. That is outrageous. 154. You see, anything over 70 was a strong seller's market. That more than doubles. So if you're a buyer in Rochester, New York, you need to be very cautious and know that you're going to be up against a lot of competition. So you have to be wise and strategic when making your offer or looking at a property. You also have Boston, which is a seller's market. Now let's go to the West Coast where you have Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a seller's market. It's not a strong seller's market because anything over 69, according to the Zillow Heat Index, is a strong seller's market. Now, those of you interested in the greater Charlotte area, this part is for you because I want to dive into what it means for different price points. We're going to go to the computer and look at the supply for inventory. We're going to look at below 450,000 and then above 450,000 because I believe that's going to tell two different stories. And depending on where you are in your home buying determines how you should act. You should definitely take two different approaches. Let's dive in. So I like to compare present day to pre-COVID levels because during COVID, things went haywire, things went crazy. Because during COVID, things went crazy. So back in August 2029, if you look at the chart right here, you'll see the inventory for single family homes under $450,000 was 4,000 homes, just over 4,000 homes. And right now, there's only 3,100 homes in the market. So we have less inventory at that price point. Now, if you look at it, you'll see that yes, we are up year over year in terms of inventory. We're up 6.3% in the greater Charlotte region. But before we compare it to homes above 450,000, let's look at the days on market and months of supply. You see, months of supply for homes under 450,000 in the greater Charlotte region is 2 months. That is still very much a seller's market. But if we saw the chart overall, it says that it's pretty much a neutral market according to the Zillow Heat Index. So if you are below 450,000, if that's a price point you're looking in, know that the supply is very, very low. And when we compare that inventory to pre-COVID levels, in August 2019, the month of supply was 2.2 months for homes under $450,000. So we are at less supply now for that price point than prior to COVID. Now we're about to look at the same chart, But look at it from a different perspective of $450,000 and above. We're gonna see what that inventory looks like now compared to pre-COVID and how it impacts the overall numbers regarding the housing market. Because remember, according to the Zillow Heat Index, it is a neutral market. But for homes under $450,000, you only had a 2-month supply of inventory, meaning it was very much a seller's market. Let's dive into it. So we changed around the search a little bit. We see now looking at homes above $450,000 in the greater Charlotte region, and we see inventory up year over year by up over 20%. And compared to pre-COVID levels, let's go to August 2019, there was only 147 homes on the market. So for my buyers out there, if you are buying a home under $450,000, please know that it's going to be more competitive, and you're going to might have to be a little bit more aggressive depending on where you are in the greater Charlotte region. Now, when talking about buying a home, and if it's a buyer's market or seller's market, please reach out to my team and I, or a trusted real estate professional, because even the greater Charlotte region, you have sub pockets that are more of a buyer's market than a seller's market, and some that are an extreme seller's market, all within the Charlotte region and under $450,000. And the same is true for homes above $450,000. And real quick before we wrap up, interest rates hit a new 52-week low. They came in at 6.25%. And if you're wondering, how can I get interest rates in the 2s and the 3s or 4s? Reach out to my team and I, because I'd love to show you how you can obtain that in today's market when the average rate is 6.25. I'm Sir Ashley, your real estate advisor. Talk soon.